Hello, and welcome to Relatable Bitches Podcast. I'm your host, Heinna.
And I'm your host, Marj. We're so excited to have you here with us today.
This is the space where we will dive into all the messy, beautiful, and totally relatable aspects of life. From family and friends to career struggles and everything in between. We're here to keep it real and have some fun.
That's right. Our goal is to create a community where we can laugh, cry, and feel understood. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into today's episode. Any personal stories or experiences shared on this podcast are unique to the individuals involved and should not be considered universal or applicable to all situations. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Relatable Bitches podcast. I am your host, Marj.
And I'm Hannah. Hello. I think today I would love to share like a change here in the podcast. I think you're right, like coming in from me, I'm sure like I've hinted or said that, every time I speak on here, I try to be as open as possible, but I still try to protect the things that are around me because I do have children and then things are happening in the background of my life. My God, I'm already starting to feel like I'm going to cry. But I think, no, I believe, see something I've learned, that the past couple of years, I would say back 2023, that my life changed drastically and a lot of things have happened and I've made choices that I shouldn't have made. And, I was at the lowest point in my life and da 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 da. And last year, 2024, was like, I need to get out of my hump. Like I was trying to get my health back, da da da. And then, of course, this positioning of the podcast, because I've always wanted to start a podcast. I always wanted to share with people and impact them in different ways, but I never really knew how to. It was just like, I think with both of us, I think we're just more like a fixer. Like in our brain, we're like, we can fix everything, we can do everything, not
You
realizing
give
that.
me a problem and I'll give you solutions.
Yeah, correct,
Yeah.
correct. And I think we're not, and I think we're the type of people that it's more, we can do it, but like definitely we can do it. But what I've come to find is I've really stretched myself thin.
Yeah.
And I think because, not I think, again, I believe it is really because I was trying to escape the things that I needed to really come out of, or sorry, that I was trying to have to fix. I have issues that's going on like with my health and like with my family. And I think for a very long time, I've always been the type of person where it's just like, I want to, instead, what is it called? You mask it. So you like block it by doing
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
And I
It's like you're
truly believe
always
in it.
trying to keep yourself busy in order to make yourself believe that you're coping with what you're supposed to be coping with,
Yeah, yeah,
but what you're really doing is avoiding it. And you're
yeah,
trying to fill your time up with all these other things that keep you busy
yeah,
and keep you,
yeah,
away from the issue that,
yeah, yeah.
you're coping with the
And,
actual
and
problem at hand.
yeah, the funny thing is that it's kind of like a drug, like I guess my drug was going out and doing things with other people because I think I've always been so inside, especially during the COVID time when I started my business, that last year I was like, I need to get out, I need to talk to people, like I wanted to be out. Like last year I traveled so much without my children. I realized that and I was like, oh my goodness. And I was just trying to escape a lot of things. And
Yeah.
even with the podcast, like because we did it so well and we worked so well together, it just really flourished to the next thing, which I I I don't think it was ever a waste. I don't think it was really just for even both of us. Like you
Yeah.
said, what I really got out of the podcast, I was like, oh my goodness, I can say things without having to feel like I'm in this like box or in this strain or I have to be in this professional manner all the time. It was like I was able to release so much in this podcast. And I truly believe that the decision that I'm making, which I'm going to, and I'm getting more like a drum roll. No, I'm just kidding. But it's more of that I do have to step back. And it's not just here in the podcast. The month of January was a month. Oh, sorry, end of December, January was a month of like breakup. Like I have broken up with everyone, and it wasn't the point where it's just I hated anyone or I thought anybody was. It was more of just I actually had to sit back and sit to myself and realize what is my goal in life, like in general, with my kids, with my life, or with this big change that's going to happen in my relationship. What am I trying to do? What is the next step? And I truly believe that I have to sit with myself a lot. And in the I would say this started really maybe like Octoberish. And this was a spiritual thing. It wasn't even thinking about the podcast. It was more of a spiritual thing that was like God kept just nudging me and nudging me. And remember when I came back from America, I was like, I feel like I closed that chapter of my life with knowing that Australia is my home. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gung ho. This is it. This is where I'm gonna be. Of course, like when I retire, am I gonna go to the Philippines? Probably. But like in general, I want to raise my kids here. This is where home is.
Yeah.
And going back to America will just be a holiday. It would I would never be able to really go back there again if something happened or if I go on a holiday. Yes, I will go back there, but that was like the closing of okay, I'm gonna live in Australia because I've always been like I'm gonna go back, maybe not. Like I always thought in the
Yeah.
back of my head, well, if it doesn't work out here, I'll go back home. But no, actually, Australia is my home. So that's been the nudge about God. He was like, okay, that's the next thing. And then November came and it was just like scaling through because I was, again, trying to avoid. I was really, I don't know if anybody believes in God or whoever you believe in, but when you have this nudge in you, you can't shake it off. And I tried and I was just like, no, God, like, I think I'm doing okay. I go to church every weekend. I'm all right. I'm a good, my kids go love church,
Yeah.
not realizing that I really had to get closer to Him and understand things in my life to get like guidance or to get the right calling because that's what I feel like I've been doing. I was avoiding so much things that I just like you said, filling up time, filling up time, filling up
Yeah.
time, filling up time that I didn't get to I couldn't hear myself or I couldn't hear God because
Yeah.
I was just trying to when they say you're trying to avoid the reality,
Yeah.
I was. And it's funny enough,
I
people
think that's
have
what
said
a
that to
lot of
me.
people do, and they are
Yeah.
in denial about it.
Yeah, correct, correct. And I was. So I was gonna say Octoberish. How I knew that it was Octoberish because when I was in America, I was at this place and it was like I'm because my life is always hectic, right? My life is always like with the kids, and I was in America. It was
You're
actually
always doing something,
yeah, I was doing
if
something,
not
yeah,
10 things at once.
yeah, and I was trying to fill all that up because I felt like I was getting pulled in 10 different ways. And then I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure everybody was okay. I wanted to make sure that everything was being done. But I remember I was sitting there, it was like a day, and it was so peaceful. There was no, like, I didn't have my kids, like, which was a different thing, but I didn't have my kids, like, I didn't have, people email, I didn't have any of that. And I remember I was standing in the kitchen and they were like, and my friend was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, I was like, "This is peace. Like this right here." I was like, "This is so weird to me." I started like not having a panic attack, but I was just like, "Oh my goodness, like this is peace." Like I've
Yeah.
never. Because they were like, "Are you waiting for someone to come in the door and just break loose?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm literally
Yeah.
waiting for something to happen because I usually that is what's happening in my life." I've
Yeah.
never felt that type of peace. I never felt that type of comfortable. And it's hard to admit that because it's in my brain. I still have so much to do. But at the same time, all I really wanted was this peace.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get it, and I couldn't have it. I had to just be in peace only for a little bit. But I wanted that peace for a very long time. And I thought that was where my peace was or will be or where my future, not realizing that's the feeling I want, but I have to find it where God wants me to be,
Yeah.
and that was my all of November because I was like, maybe I'll just choose this one thing. And then, but that would turn my life 10 times around again. But I was like, not fair to my children, not fair to, everybody involved. So I said, maybe, and I prayed. And I remember I prayed and I was like, God, I was like, I want that peace again. I want that peace of feeling. I want to be in that mindset where I actually was able to think, and then I started really thinking what 2025 was. And then I remember it was like December again. And then I was like, okay, 2025. I was like, I'm going to do this in January, this in February. Like, I kept trying to fill my time again. And it
Yeah.
was like, God was like, what are you doing? And I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I have to do this. Like, I have that. Like, I decided that that I've signed up for this. Like, I don't want to make anybody sad.
Yeah.
And then I realized, and then it was just like, he was just telling me, like, shut up and just stop. Like, you are not going to be able to do all of that. That pretty much was like, that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so after a lot of praying, like,
And it's
it was
not
like the last.
I
Go ahead.
think one thing that it's like all of our listeners, need to take away from this,
Yeah.
it's not that you can't do everything.
Yeah,
It's that you
correct, correct.
can't do it all at once.
Yes,
That's
correct,
what it
yes.
is. We've actually said it
Yeah,
previously on the podcast on another episode.
yeah.
We have this delusion because we've seen
Mm,
it in movies and on TV that women can do anything that they want to
yeah,
do. But we are the ones that also have to give birth. We are also the one, and I'm not speaking me specifically,
yeah,
but being a female in general. It's like we're mothers, we're nurturers. We've got more than just our business. We don't go off to work and come home and then, sit on the couch or play with the kids for half an hour.
yeah,
As a woman, if you're a stay-at-home mum, you're taking care of the kids all day. You're taking care of the household. And you can start thinking, it's like, "Oh, okay, but what about my career? What did I, what,
mm,
before I
mm-hmm.
had kids, I had a
Yeah,
life. You
yeah,
can still have that. Just give it some time. Enjoy that
yeah,
moment with your kids for those years.
yeah,
Then get your butt into gear because you're still the
yeah,
woman that you were before you had kids. You've still got the
yeah,
knowledge. You've still got the
yeah,
intelligence. You've still got the know-how and the go, like the I was about to say
yeah,
something really, really inappropriate. But you've still got the
yeah,
balls to chase your
yeah.
dreams.
Yeah, and I think that's what it
But
is. I keep saying that, but I do believe because
mm,
on 2020 I didn't do anything. I literally just collapsed because I was just a lot of things has happened. I was dealing with heartbreak. I was dealing with people.
yeah,
I was dealing with moving my mom. I was dealing with the kids and homeschooling the kids and so many things. So I tried to make 2024. I was trying to make up for it.
yeah,
I was trying
yeah,
to make up for lost time. And you're right. I didn't realize how much I was already doing and not being able to sit down because we were watching videos of my kids of like how small they were when we first moved into this apartment. I was like, my goodness, I was there. I was physically there, but mentally I wasn't there. And I
yeah,
think that's where I am now. It's just I want to be here for the kids mentally, especially my eldest is starting high school. Like even that makes me be like, oh my goodness. But you're right. I'm so like so scared of losing time that I end up trying to fill my time. Because in my like today, I was like, I, crazy. I set a boundary, right? I was like, no, I'm only taking this till 3 o'clock. And I was like, oh no, but I could squeeze it in between the kids. And I was like, no. The whole point of this is that you say no, and this is where it's gonna
yeah,
be. And I've come to the point where it's just I need to let things like let go and let God. Like that's really where I came
yeah,
back to because it was just because I was praying on. I was like, God, I just want things to happen today. Like why can't it happen now? I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm gonna be I'm gonna be old and I'm not gonna have anything. And it was just like it was like God saying like, why would you say that? Like I've always been here. I'm just waiting for you to sit down and listen. It's kind of like a kid. Like
yeah,
I have a kid. You're like, settle down, settle down. Like, then let me explain to you what you need because I've just been because I am yes, like you're right. I am capable of all these things, but I haven't spread my time wisely. And
yeah,
I truly believe in this change that I'm going to have this year with my relationships that I have to be understanding that things take time.
yeah,
That things will flourish the way they need to. And yes, there's some strengths that I have in the finances, there's strengths that I have emotionally, there's things that I have strain, in my physical, and just is it physical, mentally. I have so much of that. And
yeah,
as much as I love what we built here, I really do have to take that step back. And that's again not just a podcast. A lot of things, a lot of people that I've heard, and that's I think what I was scared of as well is that I made this commitment, I feel bad, or oh my goodness, are they going to be able like how are they going to be able to do this? There's so many things that needs to be done, and I could do it. Not realizing that what is my priority here? Where does
yeah,
my kids land in this, in this day, because I truly believe that you're right because I've seen other people they have the kids, they have the big businesses, they have these and they have that, not actually looking into what I have, being like very grateful for I have. And I'm going through this. I don't know if ever anyone's ever done it. It was like the magic book of the 28 days of gratefulness. I've never
yeah,
had that. I've never been grateful. I've always been the type. I mean, I have been grateful. Not saying I never have, but I never taken it to that level because I've always
yeah,
been like, well, my life sucks because this is what, this was thrown at me. Or, oh my goodness, I couldn't really do that because I had kids. Or, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have a good relationship because I've always just been like that. Or not feeling worthy enough to do certain things
Yeah.
because I wasn't in that culture. I wasn't in that caliber. I didn't have college degree, whatever it may have been. And I'm really thinking about it like the past, well, we're on my 18th day, that I have so much to be grateful for. Like
Yeah.
in a sense, actually, I was like, my goodness, you spoiled brat. That's why, when we talked about, what is it, when the New Year stuff, and I was
Yeah.
like, I was having a pity party. I really was.
Yeah.
I was like, 2022 sucked, 2023 sucked, 2024 sucked. Like I was just such a baby about it. And
Yeah.
I think that's what really had turned around, because it was like God saying, what are you talking about? Look what I've gotten you. Look how far you've gotten. You're not
Yeah.
realizing where you were before to where you are now.
Yeah.
And again, you need to stop filling your time in with things, because I need you to listen to what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
And look, I'm still in like the beginning stages of my journey, of my spiritual journey, of this change and this big, because there's going to be a huge change in my life, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I have
Well,
to
I
really
think
do.
one thing that everyone needs to remember is embrace the change.
Yes,
Really
correct.
embrace the change, because at the end of the day, you can
Yeah,
fight against it, but the
yeah,
universe will always win. You will
yeah.
never, ever win. You can set yourself back by
Yes,
self sabotaging, and that's all
yes,
we're
I've done
doing.
that. Yeah, that's
And that's what we're doing.
yeah.
We're self sabotaging ourselves by having these sort of mindsets and beliefs that don't really align. Back to our
Mm,
conversation with Sarah when we were talking about, when I mentioned like I get really frustrated with people because it's like, when they pray and it's like, I want, give me this, give me that. And
yeah,
nobody's freaking grateful for anything anymore. Just say thank you that
yeah.
my children got home alive.
Yes,
They got home from
correct, correct.
school, they've
Yeah,
got their health and their
yeah,
happiness.
yeah, correct, correct, correct.
Be grateful
Yeah,
for that moment. You don't need to be,
yeah,
I want, I need.
yeah, correct, correct, correct.
You can just say thank you.
Yes, correct,
You
correct.
can just be grateful for the things. And we always, one of the things that I did the same thing that you did through that sort of end of
Yeah,
year, like, oh my God, what have I accomplished with my life? Slap in the face, because I've accomplished so much.
yeah, correct, correct, correct.
I had to kind of flick that switch again of like, no, what do you, what, stop the bullshit, Marge. Your life has
Yeah,
been
correct.
freaking, it's not been the worst. Like, you watch
Yeah,
true crime. My God.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
While there's toxic people around me, while I've been through unfortunate things, you know what? It's not the worst of it.
yeah,
I've also
correct,
had some
totally.
amazing experiences. I've had
Yeah,
some great, great times. I've traveled the world. I've
yeah,
seen things. I can speak multiple languages. Like, there's just so many different things that I should be grateful
yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And that's kind of what I do each night. It's like, as I'm going to sleep, it's like just the gratefulness. It's just thank you. My husband got home safe from work that day.
yeah, correct.
Thank you for giving me another day with my pets.
Yeah,
They're all getting older now. So if now I've gotten to the point where it's just thank you for giving me an extra day. And
yeah,
every
correct.
single day I'm thankful for that extra day.
Yeah,
You know,
correct.
but I wouldn't be here at this mindset had I not broken.
Yes,
It's like
yes,
it took me having to break. So it's like when you came to me, a few weeks back and told me that you wanted out, it was devastating to me. Like it was
yeah,
almost like
yeah.
I can't even say a slap in the face, because it was more like a punch to the gut. It was like,
Mm-mm-mm.
all the air had been taken away.
Yeah,
But I understood what you were
yeah,
saying because I've been there.
yeah,
If anything, like I've told you this off the podcast, like I was more upset by myself because it's like, I've been through this. How did I not see the signs that she was going through
yeah,
this? And I kind
yeah,
of got upset
yeah,
at myself, and it was like, hold on,
yeah,
stop. Even
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah,
psychologist was like, stop. It's not about you,
yeah,
bitch. It's
yeah,
about her.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now
yeah,
it's like, I was upset. I was happy for you of the realization that it's like, finally she's seen these things herself. Now she can actually work on them. Hopefully she can get the help. it was also the annoyed thing is like you said, like you're an adult, you commit to something, like stick through it, like see it through.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But if I was in the same, like, but what's the ongoing topic that we said on this podcast? Boundaries. So
Mm-mm.
why would I now not give you that accessibility to have that boundary? It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I was fighting internally with myself, like going back and forth of like, you're a bitch. No, she's the bitch. No, I'm the
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you know what?
No,
The
same.
reason why we're
Yeah.
relatable bitches, because it was like that internal battle of like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like I would rather keep her friendship and not, be arguing because of, just the promises that we made to each other.
Yeah.
But we're all adults and we need to give each other that space. And it's like, after talking it through with some people and really kind of processing what was going on in my head, like my psychologist and stuff like that, it was a case of, okay, no, I can I'm going to be okay. I can do the podcast. Like, yeah, the structure's going to change. We're going to change a couple of things for season 2, all that sort of stuff. But it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Because
it's
I
like,
prayed on it
hopefully that
too.
you will get the help that you need. And it's like, if and when the time is right, you might come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know where the next sort of chapter is or where life is going to go. By season 2, we might have a different co-host every single week.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Stay tuned, guys. We've got lots of
Yeah.
exciting announcements coming up.
I was just gonna say that's what it is. I kept praying about it. I've actually, I prayed about it, and I was like, God was just saying, no, this is good for you and for her. Because I prayed about you. You're actually in my book. I have a list now that I have people that I pray
I
with.
love
I
that.
pray with, pray for. You're like, what do you mean I pray with you? You're in my own imagination. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm saying that I pray for, and
Hey,
you're one of them. And I,
wild.
yeah, but it's more of I've never felt so comfortable with my own self, even with
Yeah.
my body, than I have this month and a half. Because it was really, I'm so thankful for it. Because I used, saying, I'm sure like I hate my body. I hated my body. I was like I had all these kids, and then I realized, one thing that was like when I was going through all these things, because my car, like there's something they were fixing it, blah blah blah, all this drama, and we had to get a rental. I mean, like a loaner car. And the lady was I was getting the stuff out of the car because I was like, oh, I'm sorry, like the kids left stuff. I was like, oh my God, they're not listening. I was like, because my daughter left all her stuff. And she like tapped me in the shoulder, and it was like such igniting like energy light. And she was like,
Yeah.
hey, she was like, I understand like you're stressed, because she saw me, because I was like, I'm so sorry, I have to get all these stuff for them. And she went like this, and she was like, oh my God. I remember I looked up because I was sitting down, and I looked up at her, and she was like, I understand you could be stressed. She goes, I know there's a lot going on with the car. She goes, but, I've had miscarriages and stuff. So she's, when I see these things with your kids, she goes, they're beautiful kids. And she goes, you should be thankful that they are able to make these messes. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, she's so right. Like you said, there's little things that I've been forgetting because I'm in such a rush with everything, and I forget that as much as my kids still pisses me off, trust me, probably for the days alive, I'm more thankful for them, and even that little thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to spend more time with them. Like I want to
Yeah.
be with them. And that this whole reason I'm doing all these things was supposed to be for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not even spending the time that I should be with them. So that's why now I'm more intentional. Like I said, like at 3 o'clock, like I'm like, okay, like I gotta go get them. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna maneuver them and all that stuff now. And it was just at the point that I was like when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm making the right choices, because it's like, because I was scared. Like I felt bad for you. Like I felt bad for everybody else that I
Yeah.
left. But I was like, I have to do this. And trust me, like it breaks my heart in every situation that I've had to step back. But then I realized I'm also not being able to give myself to other people the right way either, because I am
Yeah.
so stressed. I am so stretched thin.
Yeah. And look,
And
I'm not going to speak for everybody else that you've
yeah,
had
yeah, yeah, yeah,
to, do cancel or
yeah,
do,
yeah,
explain to them what you're going through, all that
yeah,
sort of stuff. I'm speaking purely for me and me only.
yeah, yeah,
I would rather you take a step back from the podcast and take a step back from everything and you still be in all of our lives in a year's time.
yeah, yeah. I think so
Because for me, it's like, this is a really emotional podcast episode.
too. Right?
But it's like, for me, the thought of having to come and visit your grave would kill me even more. And your children losing their mother and that sort of stuff would absolutely break me.
Yeah.
That I would rather you take a step back from all of this, work on your own mental health, spend time with your kids, you know, even like I said, it's like, for me, it's just your health is more important. Like, your mental health, your health is more important. It's
Yeah.
like, I've said this to Hannah, like, off the actual podcast. It's like, whenever she's ready, if she ever wants to come back, she can.
Yeah.
If she wants to do an episode a month, she can. She, you tell me and we'll make it work. We'll
Yeah.
set the boundaries,
Yeah.
we'll make it work.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for me, ultimately, it's, I've lost too many people in my life
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
it is, due to so many different reasons: murder, suicide, accident. I've lost too many people.
Yeah.
So if I can
Yeah.
actually be there for a friend and not, not physically, like, I don't see you every single day. We
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
we don't even live near each other, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's that thing of, I would still rather know that you're okay, you're getting better, you're there for your kids and your family,
Yeah.
than the podcast.
Yeah. You know what's
While
funny?
it's like, we've
Yesterday.
made this
Yeah.
community and all that sort of stuff, I
Yeah.
would I would rather give it all up than have another person be a statistic.
Yeah. 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 You know, I think the biggest part of it all is more. Even in the lady yesterday, we had. She goes, "How come you haven't made a move?" She goes, "You're such a boss about things." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." I was like, "I think I've hidden it so well for because I feel bad for others. You know, like I don't want to do these things. And I'm not saying toot my own horn, but it's like I'm just that person. Like I have to make sure everybody's okay. But even like that, when she said that, I was like, oh, I feel like because I do have this persona of like things are happy. Yes, because things could are that's the thing. I have to realize things are actually really good, but
Yeah.
because I think too much of it is oh it'll be alright, whatever, but actually not handling it, actually not taking care of it, actually not
Yeah.
diving into it and being like, okay, how can I solve this properly? Because I
Yeah.
used to always just run from things. And that's what I mean. It's just so much things that I have outside of things because I was trying to run away from a lot of things. And that's such
Yeah.
a hard pill to swallow because to me, I felt, oh my gosh, I broke up with this and then now I'm a failure. I broke up with this, now I'm a failure. I broke up with this and now I'm a failure. Like I kept thinking that, but not really realizing, like you said, I'm not doing A, what's supposed to be for me, and B, actually fixing the problem. I was just masking it for a very long time with things. You know, some people could, people have drugs that they could be addicted to. Some people could be addicted to material things. I was really addicted to just filling my time, of things that, of course, that I care about. I know I can do it. I love everything that we've built here. I love all the things that I've ever connected with other people. It's just, I need to go back to my center and my value
Yeah.
and what is it
It's
that God has instilled in me for the future.
it's not where your
And
focus is right now.
yeah, and my main focus is that. My main focus is really just to grow my relationship with God, spend time with the kids, do the two businesses that I want to do. And that literally that's if it doesn't fit in that, not in a bad, not I'm saying I for everybody, but if it doesn't align with the values that I have, I cannot do it. And it's not because I can't do it, it's more like I shouldn't do it because it's like that balance thing where it's just if I'm gonna put too much pressure on this, what is it called? A seesaw,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a lot. And now that I'm able to express it, and now that I'm able to have time to think and, really meditate on it, like every morning now, like I'll do devotions for an hour, and then I'll pray for however long it takes that I need to pray before I get the kids ready for school. It feels so good. And I would have
Yeah.
never done that before because I would have been like, my prayers were like, thanks God, thanks for the cool stuff. I like you said, and then I would be like, oh, I want this for my day. Please let me know how it comes. Not actually sitting down and like downloading what is supposed to be for me. What should I
Yeah.
do for the day? How is it that I need to do this? And you know, I'm gonna say this. I listen. I mean, I was also listening to a lot of the things that I shouldn't have. And then this is no cross to anyone who is in this space or who wants to, who believes in this space. But I was really into very spiritual, but more of the tarot stuff and all that stuff. And look, like I have nothing against anybody against that. That's what your feeling is. But for me, that's what I was trying to figure out through that, not realizing that wasn't for me. I really had to just go back to the Bible, read it word for word, and center myself in that space. And it's funny again. I went to church my whole life. I have the kids go to church. I have a church. I like the church. I was volunteering in church, but not immersing myself in the knowledge of the Bible. I didn't because I
Yeah.
was just like, I was like, I'm a good. Like I just kept telling myself, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. I don't do bad things, but I was. I
Yeah.
was doing so much sin that
Girl.
I look back now and I was like, I'm mad at people for sinning, or like I don't want to hang out with certain people because they're sinning, or I'm sitting in my own dirt like a sinner. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not saying sitting here going, I'm never going to be a sinner, that I'm just this perfect thing. No, one of the things I really want to fix is my cussing, and it's not for anybody. That's just for me.
Yeah.
My anger. That's something I need to fix. That's something that I need to like rule out and take out because I want to remove the anger out of me and just be grateful. But I guess what I'm trying to say overall in this thing is that when you have a feeling and when you know something's pushing you to where you're supposed to be, you need the time to sit down and listen to that. But you can't if like what I was doing was just masking it with people's time,
Yeah.
or other people's time, or my own time that I would waste. Because even scrolling on the internet, I can't do that anymore. I'm fasting for 21 days. Today's my eighth day, and this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do because it was more of a daily reminder of what I'm doing these for,
Yeah.
with my kids, and why I want this to happen, and why not why I want this to happen, but why I want to hear what God's really telling me that I need to do, and I need that time and that space and that sacrifices that I have to make for myself and for the things to really download within me.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying I'm going to come in here in the next episode, if and when I ever come back and I'm like, guys, I'm 10 times, I'm 100% healed. I will never be 100% healed, but I will actually be more open to new ideas, open to myself. And I guess one thing I want to, if I just don't want to forget this, one thing that I really wanted to come out of this entire situation that I'm going through is I want to be able to, and I remember you even said this, that I want to be able to trust myself.
Yeah.
I want to be able to make a decision and trust myself and go with it, not have that, not to have that keep looking back. Did I make the right decision? Is this the right thing? No, I made the solid decision. I prayed about this. I know God have said, hey, this is the right decision for us, and not have to keep looking back.
Yeah.
And that's definitely where I am now, is that I want to get to that place where I trust myself, because for a very long time I didn't trust myself because I was just like, well, what do you think? Blah, blah, blah things. What do you think? Blah, blah, blah things. Not talking to myself or with God or having that relationship with Him to be able to get myself to wherever I need to be. So that is really where I'm coming in from with
Yeah.
this entire situation. And I want to say this on record and say, I'm so thankful that you're understanding of all this. I was
Mm.
freaking out. I was like, out of everyone that I was like breaking up with or whatnot, I was freaking out with you because I was like, oh my gosh, we built this whole thing. Like everything worked out so smoothly. Like
Yeah.
nothing was like whatever. But what I've come to realize is that my journey will be a little bit different. And I wish you all the best when it comes to this, because I truly feel that I'm not saying that you needed me, but I feel like I was able to at least share, like, do this with you because I know there's more to this. And I kept saying that to you
Yeah.
before, right? I was like, I know there's something to this. I could feel it. I just didn't know. Again, I'm very intuitive with other people's energy, not really not my own,
Yeah.
because
Because
I want the best for everyone,
but
you know?
we all do that.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, yeah,
long
yeah.
from when you started telling me it's like, oh, I joined this group and I joined this group and I
Yeah.
joined that group, and I was like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah,
are you
yeah,
join
yeah.
like why are you doing a
Yeah.
hundred
Yeah.
different things? You're gonna run
Yeah,
yourself into
yeah.
the ground.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then look what
Yeah.
happened. It's like we can always see other people's kind of path
Yeah.
and where they're going and what's about to happen.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
we don't listen to each other.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
or we hear, but we don't pay attention. It's like we hear what the other people have to say, but then we don't follow through with it. It was like, thanks for telling me. I've got that. I can. So later on, when it happens, you're like, yeah, you were right. I remember like, this happening. But it's not about
Yeah.
being right. It's honestly about we need to take the time to listen to the people that care about us around us, because sometimes
Yeah.
they can see the
Yeah.
path that
Correct.
we're
Correct.
going down a
Yeah.
lot sooner than what we see it.
Yeah, because you're clouded, right? Like, and it's more like, and it's easier because I mean, we all have eyes. We see out, we
Yeah.
don't see in. And if you're not also that, like, I was at the point where I wasn't trusting myself, so I couldn't see it because I would think about it. Oh, is that a good thing? Oh, I think maybe, or is that a good thing? Oh, maybe not, but not realizing that things could have been better if I just learned how to listen to who I really needed to listen to, which was not half the time really wasn't myself,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I was sad, I was confused, I can truly say this, now openly that I was super depressed in 2023.
Yeah.
I made decisions that swear to goodness, I look back now and I go, I could have died,
Yes.
like I could have died. And
Yes.
then where would my kids be at this moment? Like,
Yeah.
or I've done things where I was like, if my kids did that, I'd be pissed. Like I
Yeah.
would be like, are you dumb? Are you dumb? And every day, like I thank God that I didn't die and that I was fine. And I also thank God that there were still people around me that actually did understand that it really shaped me to be where I am. Because
Yeah.
one thing that I've really learned throughout this whole thing is that our time is on in God's hands. Again, however
Yeah.
people want to believe this, is in God's hands. Because
Yeah.
I rushed it a lot. I was like, well, God, like I want to do this and I want
Yeah.
to do that. Like even this year, I was like, remember, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go in April,
Yes.
then I'm gonna go in June, and in July I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this, and then that like a ding dong. And in my
Girl, I'm
mind
supposed
now,
to be in Melbourne.
oh yeah,
That didn't happen.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
So
oh
no,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
I get what you, but I completely get what you mean. And even when it comes to like your personal journeys, like
yeah.
what a lot of people on this podcast would not know is that I do Bible studies.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
Christina was like,
know.
when she found out, she was like, "What?"
I know.
I've
Yeah.
been doing Bible studies for a while now, and now,
Yeah.
granted, that sort of November, December, towards the end of last year, I had started going through some stuff mentally that I was
Yeah.
just, didn't really. How can I put it? Not necessarily not accepting God, but it was like, I have bigger fish to fry, so let me go fry those fish, and I'll come back to the Bible later when
Mm.
I've got the mental
Mm-mm.
capability. And it was like I did need to have that sort of little bit of a break, get through that sort of Christmas New Year period, get my mindset back on track, and come January, it was like as soon as I got that message from the guys just saying, can we start Bible studies again? I was like, yes, let's do it. I need this.
Yeah, I love that.
And even last week when we were doing our Bible study, we were talking, and they had mentioned that it's like, had they knocked on my door the day before, nobody would have been home. Had they knocked on it the day after, my husband would have been home, and they would have been told to where to go. They knocked on my door at the perfect time. Earlier that week, I'd had a conversation with somebody about the fact that I believe in God, but I don't believe in the Catholic Church, the way that they've told the
Mm-mm.
stories. I'm sorry. I
Mm-mm.
know a lot of people are going to hate me, but there's some things when it comes to Christianity where it was like, why am I fearing something that I can't even see?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Why is something that people keep telling me, it's like, but pray to him, but love him, but my whole life I'd been told to fear him.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
I
you
get
mentioned
that.
before, it's like if I commit any
Yeah.
sin, in my head it was like, if I commit a sin, I'm going straight to hell. I will never be allowed into
Yeah.
heaven. I have
Yeah.
to confess in order to get
Yeah.
into heaven. And if I die
Mm.
between here and me getting to church and confession, I'm dead. I'm going to
Yeah.
hell. I had to live with that
Yeah. Yeah.
fear. And
Yeah.
so it was
Yeah.
like, when I had people knock on my door previous to that, it was very
Yeah.
judgmental. They came at me with
Yeah.
judgment, and I need to believe in Jesus, and this is what you must
Yeah.
believe in. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, Jehovah Witness guys come knocking on my door, and it
I
was
remember
the
when I was
polar
we were on the
opposite.
phone, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember you were like, they came, and I was like, you. I was like, you spoke with them? And you were
Yeah.
like, yeah. I was like, okay.
There was
Oh, I
not a
love
moment
that.
of judgment. There was not a moment
Yeah.
of you need to. It was like, this is what we're doing this weekend. If you'd like to join us, please come.
Mm.
And because I'd had a conversation with somebody earlier on that week about God, about Jesus, about religion, I was like, is this a sign? Because again, I told you, it's like, had they come the day before, I wouldn't have been home. Had they come the day
Yeah.
after, had they come the week before on that same day, I would not have been home.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
The timing, had they come earlier in that morning, I would not have been home. Had they come later in the afternoon, I would have been in meetings. I wouldn't have been able to answer the door.
Mm.
The timing was precise.
Yeah. It's always in
I
God's time. And time.
It was exactly. It was just in the
Yeah.
time that it needed to be. It was right. They knew when the right time was. They knocked, and that was my message of,
Yeah.
what do you? So you're not going to cuss me out and tell me that I'm going to hell because
Yeah.
I said, I believe in a higher being. I just don't necessarily know what it is.
Yeah. 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 Oh, I love it.
Christians come and knock on my door and they're like, you need Jesus.
No.
Jehovah Witness come and knock on my door and they're like, perhaps this might be something that you could be interested in reading. Let us know and we're more than welcome to come back and help you read through it.
You're like, oh, different approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, you have questions? Not a problem. Let us go through it together and work out the answer. And I'm not saying it is the religion, it's the church, it's the people in it.
Yeah. And I think that's
Whichever
what a lot of people get scared of.
agree.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I know it's not Catholic because I've met Catholic people that do not have that
Yeah.
judgment in them,
Correct. 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 Correct.
but I've met a lot of them that do. And then when you
Yeah. Correct.
realize the way that the message gets passed down and the way that it's been interpreted, like I'm unlearning a lot of things.
Yes. Same. Same. Same.
Like when
Same.
I'm reading, when I do the Bible study and they're telling me that, hold on, I'm not going to burn and I'm not going to burn into flames and just like disappear in thin air
Yeah.
because I said Jesus' name. And they're like, no, God is forgiving. I'm like, no, he's
Yes.
not. Me, I'm
Yes.
fighting me. I'm like, no, he's not. What are you talking about?
Same. Same.
So it's
Yeah.
me having to have that love again. It's having a change of perspective. It's realizing that there's more to it. There's, so it's the journey that each of us have to go on. You are now
Yeah.
starting your journey as it seems in
Yeah.
this new sort of
Yeah.
path. And it's totally okay. That's another reason, like another one of my sort of my moments of thought of, oh crap, like, after we had spoken, it was like, oh crap, no, but it's like, how I can't. There's no way that I can judge because I've been through this. I've done the same thing. It's like had to set my boundaries. It's like, yeah, I've had to hurt people in setting those boundaries, but I had to say no. I had to turn away. I had to move away. I had to. Do you get what I mean? It's like I had to make the choices that were best for me and my immediate family.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's the biggest scare of it all because again, I think you and I, as strong as we are, like we're loud and then, but that's the thing. It's that when they say the stronger women, the more they need to be, the more that we're sensitive inside, which is true. And I hated this. I hated when people would say that,
It's
but
like
it's so
saying
true.
the woman
Yeah.
that smiles a woman that smiles all the time is always hurting inside.
Yeah, and I was like,
That's
no,
the
but
reality
because
of it.
yeah, but it is the reality. Because like I
Yeah.
said, like I was saying, I was very, like you even said, you didn't notice because I just hit it so well. Because and the thing is, I never even thought about that I was doing it. It was just my what is that mechanism? What is that called?
Your instinct.
Myself. Yeah, my
It was
instinct
your
just to be like,
survival
no, yeah,
instinct.
yeah, survival instinct. Just be happy about it. Don't worry about it. Because
Don't
the same
show
thing like you were saying.
anybody emotion.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
fine.
and yeah, and I think the biggest thing that I take away from this is that I want to teach my kids. Look, my eldest, we've been butting heads a little bit, but the fact that now we can come down and
Welcome
make an
to the
agreement.
teenage years.
Yeah, and now we can come back to it. Like the other day, she was like, "You didn't even let us turn on the AC." I was like, "Because it's not that hot," you know. I was like, you know, and she was like, "Oh," and then we went through
We
this
live in
thing, but
Australia, Hannah. It's
yeah,
always
I
hot.
know. No, but you know, but I think it was more of with like you said, what I loved about say with you, we've always gone to Catholic church. And
Yeah.
then when my grandma converted to Christianity, it was totally the other three different things. But I was always pulled into we can go to Catholic church, we can go to this church. Like we not until I actually
You
had
do it
kids.
all.
Yeah, do it all again, again, and not until I had kids, or even when the kids have actually right after COVID, where it's like I need to find a home. You know, I need
Yeah.
to find a place, and that's what I was saying. It's fun. It's always in God's timing because even the church we go to now, because you know my driving skills. I don't understand. I mean, I saw this church that we passed by, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool church." And then one Sunday, I woke up. I was like, "We're going to church." I googled Christian church. Blah blah blah. We went into this thing, and I was like, "Is this the one we passed by?" You know, knowingly that I live like 10 minutes away from this place, but because we never go on that side,
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I didn't know how to overtake other cars. I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna go to this church. We went in, and everybody
She's
was
not
saying hi.
kidding about that either.
Yeah,
That is not satire. That
yeah,
is not a joke. She
yeah.
genuinely did not know how to overtake the car.
No, I
I
don't. I don't. So
I've been in the
because it
car
was,
with her. I know
yeah,
what she's
yeah.
talking about.
You know, when it's roundabouts, I get scared of roundabouts. I
Yeah.
was like, well, it's saying other the direction saying left, and there's a car on my right, so I'm just gonna go left. So I remember we went in there, and it was just like cool bees. We went in there, and I remember I was like, this is not the church that I thought it was. I really don't know, but it was like the right thing, the right time, and it was just like you didn't even know that day we went in there. I just bawled because that was when we came back from the Philippines, where things were just happening left and right in my life.
Yeah.
I just bawled and cried and my kids were like, we went to church so you can have a crying session. Because I was just like, ah. And nobody said anything until the end. Then when the lady was like, oh, you guys want coffee, blah, blah, blah. And my son, his big mouth, told our whole business to this lady, right? Everything that was happening in our family. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's,
Yay! Go
yeah.
Tommy.
I was like, so embarrassing. No, but you know, it's funny. On Sunday, the lady came up to me. She mean she doesn't know the whole story, but she goes to me, she said, I'm glad that you're here. And I said, yeah, you know, as much as we're still trying to find some sort of piece of where we're at. I was like, yeah, no, I'm glad that we're here. But you're right. God's in timing. And obviously it took time for me to get to where I am today. But that's the thing. I love what you said. Like growing up, it was like, yeah, fear God, fear God. It was like, oh, God's going to do this to you if you don't do things right.
Yeah.
But actually, now it's just God loves you so much where He is forgiving. He is going to be able to guide you through whatever this is that you're going through. And the fact that like when you find a place where you can praise God in a sense where it's where you're destined to be. Again, I mean everybody can have their own opinions of where you should go to church, right? But I truly feel that's where it is because what I've also realized is
Well,
that
I think it's just been
people in
understanding that
church,
everyone can
yeah,
have a belief system. You
yeah,
don't
correct,
have
and
to
yeah,
believe in the same thing. Just respect
yeah.
each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And because that's what God would have done. Like he would have I
Exactly.
always thinking now, you know that WWJ, like what would Jesus do in a sense?
Yeah.
And it's true because it's a even if somebody that came in that might not be where you're at, God would have said, "Hey, you welcome everybody, whether big or small or you know whatever." And that's why, because I think this is for you and I as well, where you know we always talked about I will respect the main person, the down the fish tank and up the fish tank of in a corporate ladder because everybody matters, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And with God, it's just everybody matters. So, I mean, look, I truly believe in this next year, wherever you and I will go, even if I feel like we're going to parallel where we need to be.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're still friends. I don't, it's not like we're going to stop
No.
talking, but
And that's the thing that
yeah,
a lot of, our listeners,
yeah,
I don't if
yeah,
you've listened from day one, Hannah and I were
yeah,
friends before we started the podcast.
yeah, you're
We were
correct. And
friends
not
before.
long either. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
but we were
yeah,
we were
yeah,
friends beforehand. We
yeah,
had worked together
yeah,
beforehand. This podcast wasn't our, debut as a, you know, we're co-hosts, we're friends, we're this, we're that. No, the friendship was
yeah,
beforehand. All of this
yeah,
started afterwards. We'll
yeah,
continue to be friends, after this podcast episode
yeah.
ends. And like I said, whenever you want to come back, if your kids put you through something and you just need to vent, Jump on. I'm happy to do an episode.
Maybe. But I did survive my first year of high school. No, and I think that's the big. Again, I'm also very like appreciative of how much you understood. Like I was shocked. I was like, because I was so scared. Not gonna lie, I was like, she's gonna hate me. I was like, oh my goodness,
That's
she's gonna
actually how
hate
she
me.
started the conversation when
I
she called
was
me.
like,
She's like, "Please don't hate me."
yeah.
And
You're like,
I was
why?
like, "Me on the screen."
You
What?
were for a while. I was like, I was
You
like,
actually said, "Are
oh,
you frozen?" I'm like, "No, I'm waiting for you to say what you need to say. I'm scared. I'm
yeah,
scared of what's
and
about to come
yeah.
out of your mouth."
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like hard things happen, and I mean, you have to do hard things. And look,
Yeah.
this is what I realized more and more. And like what you said, I'd rather have the friendship that we stayed together, and that rather than going through because I've had to do some breakups where we're on talk, and it was not because like I hated that person or that person hated me. Because I'm sure they'll listen to this that I don't hate you. I don't hate anyone. I think it was more of that I have to do things for myself and for my children, and it sucks that it had to be this way. But
And you know
I
what?
need,
If they don't
yeah,
understand that and they can't
yeah,
accept your boundaries, they were never friends.
yeah. No, I think they do. I think they were just. I think they really do. I think it was just that they were shocked that I did it that way, where it was just like because to me it's just like for
Like, what are
like
you
you and
supposed
I,
to
right?
do?
Yeah.
Give 30 days notice,
You know what?
write
I feel like I
in an
should have.
email, set up a
Yeah,
meeting
because
to
yeah,
discuss it. Like, I,
yeah. I think the
I could have
biggest
turned around
thing.
and be like, yeah, there's so many ways that we could have done this.
Yeah. No,
But
but I think it was more of what I've
there's
come to
also, you
find
don't really know when
also.
you're going to break.
Yeah, correct. And I
You
think
don't
it
know
was more
when
of
life takes you. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I really, really think it's more of I really need people to have my back right now. Because
yeah.
again, the lady yesterday that I was having lunch with, because I don't have family here, right? Oh my God, it's gonna make me cry. I don't have family here, and she asked me this question. She's like, do you have like a tribe here that you can just be like that you
No.
can talk to? And I was like, not really, kind of. I said, it kind of. She goes, that's one thing that, like you want to pray for because that's the thing that helped her go through a lot. Like
Yeah.
yeah, shit. And I realized because I don't have family here, that it is a little bit different. But they're like, there's always that thing when with my family, like, come back here. No thanks. Not
Yeah.
about
It
to
is
suffer over here.
so important.
Yeah,
So
correct. And yeah,
important.
yeah, and that is actually one of the things that I want to share here again before I forget. I was talking about this. I was like thinking about it this morning. I was like, one of the things that I wanted to be for this year was read the Bible more, like really dig down and like really understand. Because again, I only understood the surface. Like, be a good person, but what
Yeah.
comes with that, I wanted to be more authentic, and that's why now it's like you said. If I'm going to be ugly or sad or anything, like I need to like before we talked about this, just openly share. I want to keep my health again. Like I want to, like I had actually the best results I've had in 10 years,
Mm.
like the past 2 week or 2 weeks ago. And I was like, that's really because I really just started focusing on that a little bit more. Like
Yeah.
I want to get a new place for the kids and I, like I want us to have our own home. Like I want to be able to be comfortable in where I stay.
Yeah.
I want to find my tribe. I want to be a little bit more organized, like I said, set that boundary of this is all I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
I want to be able to provide for my kids solely, be able to be like their, provide for them. And I want to be able to travel with my kids. It doesn't have to be far. Even if we go to Wollongong, love Wollongong. Even if we go to Wollongong or something where it's just the kids and I have a little holiday, I want to do that. Because last year I went everywhere without these kids. And I really got to the point where you're right. I had to lose things or let go of things in order for me to be ready to like level up to the next thing. Because honestly, like I said, I think I've departed from other people where it was just like not, and again, not that they're wrong or not that they are bad people or that they don't care about me. I think that sometimes I can be a lot where some people don't know how to handle it, and that's fine. What I've learned more than anything is that I'm going to be who I am, a lot or not, and the people that will stay around me will be like you said, will be my tribe. And I
Yeah.
have to accept that. And even because I used to always, I think, you and I, we talked about, we're chameleons, right? Like we can go to this place and we can be really professional. We can go clubbing and we can be real ghetto.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing. That it takes a different type of people to be able to handle our us, because I think especially you, like I'm sure because you've been through this, being authentically yourself is so much better for you and also for the people around you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I want people to understand out of this
And
episode. And the thing.
one thing, your tribe is not made up of yes men.
Yes, correct,
Your tribe is
correct.
not made up
Yes,
of people that are just going to agree with you on everything.
correct, correct, correct,
Your
correct, correct.
tribe are the people that you can frustrate the shit out of because you have just
Yeah,
said to the same thing 3 years later
yeah,
that, we've been saying to you for 10 years.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And we're like, finally, now you've got it. Now we can move on. Let's get on with
yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
the I told you so. Now like, what the fuck is wrong with
yeah,
you?
yeah,
Get over it. You should have known
yeah,
that because I told you back then. No, 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 no. Like,
yeah,
no, that's not. It's the good. Now you've realized. I'm glad I said it 10 years ago. Can we now move
yeah.
on? Can we
Yeah,
now
let's
move
get this
forward with it?
going.
Let's get
Yeah, yeah,
going.
yeah.
It's the
Because they know you
accountability
deserve
partner.
better. Yeah,
Exactly. It's the accountability partner. Like, if you're saying that something that you eat every single day makes you sick, and then you and I catch up and I see you putting that in your face,
yeah,
I'm going to call you out and be like, why would you eat something that's going to make you feel sick?
yeah. Because again, I think
Have
it's a
some fruit.
drug. Right? Drug can be anything. I know.
No,
But just to let you know, yeah, it's true.
but it's true. Like, I have had friends that have had, problems with their cholesterol and,
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah,
and diabetics and all
yeah,
the rest of
yeah.
it. Going to Pancake House is
It's
not
true.
the freaking best place to go.
Hey, man, no, just kidding. But yeah, no, exactly. No,
So
no,
do you get what I mean? But it's that
yeah,
accountability. It's like, you know what? Let's not go there.
mhm,
Let's go somewhere else instead. Let's go to a cafe.
yeah,
Let's get proper food.
yeah,
Let's eat something. Let's
yeah,
get sustenance, like actual,
yeah,
real,
yeah,
not
yeah,
pancakes and
yeah.
cream and
Syrup
syrup
and
and everything
yeah,
that's going to make you die after
yeah,
we leave.
yeah. And
You
that's
know,
that's the
it's that
entire
sort of stuff.
point of it all, where it's just everybody's addicted to something, whether it's
Yes.
whatever. And I was really addicted to filling up my time with things that made me feel good or made me feel important or made me feel loved or made me feel wanted or made me feel like I was doing something in the world, not realizing where it's just I wasn't putting my energy in the right spot. And look, that goes for everyone. Like
Yeah.
everybody, again, whoever watches this, like if and when that you ever get to a point where you are getting nudged, again, whatever you believe in, I mean, me would be God. So God really has been nudging me for a while because in that moment, like I told you in October, He showed me where the piece is, where I could have that feeling, but it just wasn't in the right environment.
Yeah.
And that's also a thing too, recognizing your environment, recognizing where you're at. Because even now, like the devil has been saying, like, maybe you could, just make it, make this happen. And I'm like, I sat down and I really looked at it. I said, no, we've done this multiple times, over and over. Like you said, if I keep going to the pancake house and complaining that my sugar is high, don't go to the pancake house.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing now. I'm not going to the pancake house. No, I'm not going to any, maybe. I was in a blue, no, I was kidding. But it's
Treating
really,
yourself is always good. But it's
yeah,
the ongoing the
the
point to all of
gluttony,
this
I guess.
is, yeah,
Yeah,
it's like everything in moderation.
yeah,
Nobody's saying
yeah.
you can't drink wine. What we're saying is maybe don't drink the entire case. Have a glass.
You're right. And go with it. Have a, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
You know,
And so, yeah,
spend
yeah.
that
No,
quality
for
time
sure.
with your kid, like with your kids and your
Yeah.
family while they're young. Because guess what?
Yeah.
Once they get older, the chance you're probably not going to see them that often.
Yeah, look at
And
my 11-year-old. I use AC. I was like, it's not even that hot.
note about it, it's like, well, where's your mum?
Yeah.
You don't
Correct.
see her all the time. You might talk to
Correct.
her and things like that, but you don't get to see her because you live in a different country.
Yeah. Correct. Correct. Correct.
Circumstances change. People can get jobs
Yeah.
in different countries, have
Yeah.
families, move away, move back. There's so many different, circumstances to people's lives. And the point is,
Yeah.
as a tribe member, as your friend, we just have to be there to support each other.
Yeah. And that's the
That's
biggest
all it
thing.
is.
And yeah. And that's the thing. It's more of a finding the people that needs to be there. Because, when this breakup stuff happened, this whole entire thing, I think over like 5 people. The ones that I've realized that were like in the end that said, "Hey, thank you for letting me know. Like, how can we support you in different ways?" Or the ones that just completely just shut me out, And then it was like God, like putting His hand on it, was like, "Look, this is you asked for me to give you a big wash, and this is what's happening.
Yeah.
So you can't get sad that that happened. You can't get mad that that happened." And I was like, "No." And again, I was
Embrace it.
grateful. I embraced. I said, "Thank you, God, for allowing this to filter through, to really come in into where it is what it is, that I learned to wash my hands of a lot of things where it was like, I understand that because I was sad. I was like, oh my goodness. But I realized now, I was like, man, I wasn't even respected in that space. Or I was respected, but I was just being used in that space, or another
Yeah.
space that it was just like, it was just whatever. I was just a number, which is again fine, But again, why I don't want to be in that space. And like I said with you, like a lot of the things that I had to go of, it's not like I just let go and everything was done. Like I had we still had a couple episodes to record, like even with the other ones I still have things to do, but I was finalizing it. It feels so nice to just breathe and be like,
Yeah.
okay, this is it. This is where I need to be, where I need to just, because I also, these people that were so respectful enough, I also want to respect their time. Like respect you, respect
Yeah.
your time, respect your effort that you put into it. I wasn't just gonna be like, some places I did because
You're out and here are your passwords.
yeah, yeah, no, I know. Love our
No.
passwords. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but in the end, I just want to say for everybody here, thank you for our listeners. Thank you for people that are going to be listening moving forward. This is going to be an amazing journey, I think, for all of us, whether you're listening all the time or when you get the glimpse of the things that we're listening to. But I think season two, I could even say confidently that there's more to it. There's more impact because I believe that you'll be able to share a little bit more because it's obviously in your space, and there's more people that you'd want to put in that comes in. And
Yeah.
like I said, yeah, of course, if I ever was able, if and when am able to come back, like I love to be able to share everybody with their update, even with the people that we've had in the show. That it's our journey in life is so crazy, and that's all of us. Everybody has a story. I just want us to live our own story our own way, and I
Yeah.
think that's what I wish on everyone, because I think all of us, even me, like as a grown adult, got children, I got things going on, I was still blocking so many things, and I don't ever wish that upon anyone. I want people to be able to think clearly, go through their journeys on as their own, with how they do it with their own. And I'll pray for everybody. That's just again, it's on my list.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah, I think
definitely.
it's good. Yeah.
And I wish you all the best of luck
Oh, thank
on your
you,
new
thank you.
journey and
Yeah.
your spiritual path.
Oh,
And
thank
well,
you, thank you.
you and I will still talk. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. And like I'll get
it's
in there.
we're
Yeah,
saying goodbye to you on the podcast, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you and
No,
I
I know.
will still be in contact.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
season two, we've got some changes happening. Obviously, Hannah will not be joining us in season two. I'm actually going to take a break for about a month. So probably come back towards the sort of end of March, beginning of April, with season two ready and raring to go. We'll have memberships ready to go. So stay tuned for that. We'll make some announcements on our social media about that. And yeah, we'll keep you posted on all things that are
Oh,
coming up.
oh, thank you to everyone. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait to
It's
see
been
what's
an
gonna happen.
amazing season.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you all so much. And that
Thank
is all from the Relatable Bitches for season one. Bye, everyone.
And that wraps up another episode of the Relatable Bitches podcast. We hope you enjoyed our chat today and found something that's resonated with you.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us reach more relatable bitches like you.
And remember, you can connect with us on social media. All links are in the description.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep it real and stay relatable.